My name is Christina Jones, and I teach kindergarten at Bricky McLeod Elementary School. Hey, Bricky Bears, I hope you're doing well. This is Science Activity 3, and today we're going to learn about solids and liquids. Activities and handouts can be found under the Student Resources tab on the Knox County Schools website. So please visit www.knoxschools.org. And at the end of this lesson today, I would love to see what you have learned. So please tweet at us at KCS Science. Now, before we get started, I have 4 things that you can do if you're having a hard time understanding what's going on. The first thing you can do is to turn on the closed captions if available. The second, if you're watching this video on a computer, you can adjust the playback speed to slow down the video a little. The third thing you can do is to consider watching just short pieces, to pause it, to listen, and then to watch again. And the fourth thing you can do today, which is always a great idea, is to ask someone in your home to watch the video with you. You're going to stop frequently and talk to your partner about what you heard and understood. So as we get started today, I'm going to show you some pictures, and I want you to think about what you notice. So let's start with this one. What do you notice in this picture? I notice a little girl playing with blocks. I notice her blocks are different colors. She looks like she's really thinking about her blocks. Let's look at this picture. What do you notice here? Is that paint? I notice different colors of paint. I kind of wonder if you like to paint. Let's look at one more picture together. What do you notice here? I notice that hot air balloons are floating in the sky. I notice their bright colors, their different patterns. That's what I notice. Well, today, before we can really jump into solids and liquids, we have to understand that matter is all around us. It makes up everything. The things we eat and drink, where we live, the things we touch, the toys we play with, the clothes we wear, the cars we ride in, everything around us is made of matter. So the blocks that the little girl is playing with, that's matter. The paint you see in the containers, that's matter. And the hot air balloons you see floating in the sky, matter. When we talk about matter, we can describe its properties. The properties just tell about matter. So we talk about how it looks. We talk about how it smells. We talk about how it feels or sounds or tastes. So we're using our 5 senses. And I know you've learned about 5 senses in kindergarten. So now we're going to use our 5 senses to describe the pictures that I showed you at the beginning. We see the little girl with the blocks. Let's think. What do you notice with your eyes? I notice the different colors when I look at those blocks. What do you notice with your ears? We can't really hear them right now, but we can think about what they sound like. I have 2 boys in my house, and I know they like to build with blocks. So when I think about how blocks sound, I usually think about how they sound when they're crashing to the ground. It happens in our house. So that's how they hear or they sound. Think about how they feel. Blocks at our house feel pretty smooth. They're also hard. I know that I've been hit with a couple, especially when they come crashing to the ground, and they kind of hurt a little bit. So they're hard. That's how I would describe the way they feel. Now, when I think about smelling and tasting, those are two senses that we can use to describe blocks, except I wouldn't really talk about how they smell or taste because I don't really smell them a lot and I definitely don't taste them. Blocks are not for eating. But let's look at the paint. I could talk about how paint smells. I know at our house that I've painted some rooms in our house, and when I paint, it has a very strong smell. Some people might like the way paint smells. Some people may not like the way that paint smells. That's okay, but it definitely has a smell. Now, still thinking about taste, I would not want to taste paint. That would not be a safe choice. But I can still use some of my other senses to describe paint. I can describe the way it looks. I see different colors there. I can talk about how it feels. It's cold, it's wet when it's not dry. So let's look at the hot air balloons. Let's use our 5 senses to describe those. I already told you I noticed their bright colors. But what else can you use to describe? I see they have lots of patterns. I see that they are floating in the air. Kind of makes me wonder how that's happening. I can't float in the air. What do you think a hot air balloon would feel like? Or smell like? Have you ridden on one before? I've never been in a hot air balloon. I've only seen them when they're on the ground. So I don't really have all the answers to those questions, but that's okay. I can still use my 5 senses to describe the things that I know about them. When we want to talk about matter, we can put it into 3 categories. We can describe matter as being a solid. We can describe matter as being a liquid, and we can describe matter as being a gas. Now, in this lesson, we're really only going to focus on solids and liquids. We're going to save gases. So the blocks that the little girl is playing with, those are solids. And we're going to learn more in this video about why those are a solid. And we're also going to focus on liquids. The paint is a liquid, and we're going to learn more about that today too. So let's jump in. First things first, what is a solid? Well, a solid is matter that has its own shape. So I can hold it, I can try to pull on it, I can maybe twist it or rub it around, but at the end of the day, it's still going to have the same shape. So I've got some different examples for us to look at. In picture number 1, you see a little boy wearing some clothes. He's got a hat on, he's got on boots. His clothes are a solid because whether he has the hat on his head or off of his head, it's still going to be a hat. His shirt, when he's wearing his shirt or he takes his shirt off, it's still going to be a shirt. Can he wad it up and throw it in the dirty clothes basket? Or could he fold it and put it away in his drawer? Sure. But is that really going to mean it's not a shirt anymore? No, it's still a shirt. So clothes are a solid. Let's look at picture number 2. Picture number 2 is a bus. Can you describe a bus? What makes it a solid? Well, I know that I walk the bus riders at my school outside every day to get on the school bus. And those buses always look the same, and they always sound the same. And that diesel burning in the engine, it still smells the same every day. So what I notice is that the bus is always a bus. It has its own shape. Now, are the clothes in the buses the same shape, or do they feel the same? No. Solids can be different colors. They can be different shapes. They can be different weights, like some can be heavy and some can be light, but they're still solids. Picture number 3 is a brick wall. That's not like clothes. It's kind of like a bus in that it's hard, but I use bricks for different things than I use a bus for. I use a bus to get around town, but I use brick walls to build a house. Picture number 4 is a backpack. A backpack is a backpack. No matter how you wad it up, zip it, unzip it, wear it, hang it, it is still a backpack. Now, picture number 5 is a teddy bear. Oh my goodness. If my little girl was in here right now, she would probably squeeze that teddy bear because it looks so soft and cozy. And she would want to snuggle up to it. Is she going to want to snuggle up to the brick wall? No. But she would want to snuggle up to the teddy bear because it looks so soft. And that's a way I can describe a teddy bear. The teddy bear is still a solid. And finally, picture number 6. Picture number 6 I put on here because it's one of my favorite things. Candy. Do you like candy? How would you use your 5 senses to describe candy? I know that I can describe the way it looks, the way it sounds when I'm crunching it, the way it smells and tastes, and even the way it feels. I can use all 5 of my senses to describe candy bars, but I know that it is a solid. Let's take a minute and look at liquids. Now, a liquid is matter that takes the shape of the container, and it would be a puddle if we did not put it in something like a cup or a bottle or a bowl. It needs something to go in, because if you didn't put it in something, it would definitely turn into a puddle in the floor. So I have some examples for us to look at here. In picture number 1, you see some soup. Now, if I'm talking about the way soup looks, in this picture, it's kind of a yellow-orange color. If I talk about the way it would feel, I know that soup is hot. I do like to eat soup, and so I think about the way that soup tastes, and I think it tastes delicious. A lot of times I put some salt in the soup that I cook, so I could describe it as being salty. But let's look at picture 2. Picture 2. Those are milkshakes. Those are not hot. They are not salty. They are cold and sweet. So again, I'm using my senses to describe the properties of this liquid. But soup and milkshakes, even though they're both liquids, they have different properties. Let's look at picture 3. Picture 3 is orange juice. Do you like orange juice? I like orange juice. I think it's sweet and it's cold, but it's different than a milkshake. It still needs a container to go in though, because it is a liquid. Now, picture number 4. Picture number 4 is some soap. And I bet you have been doing a lot of hand washing at your house. I know we've been doing a lot of hand washing at my house. But soap is a liquid, because if I didn't put it in the container to, pump it in my hand later, it would just be a giant mess in the floor. So I know that soap is a liquid. Now, picture number 5 is sunscreen. And I think this picture is pretty neat because each container looks a little bit different, but they each have sunscreen in them. Sunscreen is a liquid. If we didn't put it in a container, then it would just become a puddle in the floor. But it takes the shape of the container. That's part of the definition of a liquid. And so if my container is wavy, then when I pour it in, it might kind of look wavy inside. If my container is tall and skinny, then it's going to start to fill up and look tall and skinny. So the liquid takes the shape of that container. And you can see in pictures 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all of those containers are very different, but they can all hold a liquid. Now, picture number 6 is a little bit different, but it still has a liquid. Picture number 6 is a lady holding an umbrella. Why would she be holding an umbrella? Well, if you look closely, you see the rain is falling from the sky. Rain is a liquid. Now, when it falls from the sky and falls to the earth, we notice it becomes a puddle. If you have a spot on the ground that turns into a puddle, well, it's because there's probably something in it, some kind of liquid. All right, so we know about solids and liquids. So let's do this. I'm going to show you some pictures, and I want you to do two things. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to think, is it a solid or a liquid? The second thing I want you to do is think about how you would describe it using your five senses. What does it look like, sound like, smell like, taste like, and feel like? All right, so we have a picture of a shovel right here. Is this shovel a solid or a liquid? If you said the shovel is a solid, I would agree with you. It doesn't matter what I try to put that shovel in a barrel, in the garden, if I try to put it in the back of my car to take somewhere, if I go to Lowe's or Home Depot and I buy a shovel is always going to be a shovel. It is a solid. So how would you describe it? You can just say some of the words out loud. To me, it looks dirty. Looks like somebody's been working really hard. I notice it's kind of a gray or silver color. I have picked up a shovel before, and I think they are kind of heavy. So those are ways I can describe the shovel. Let's look at this picture of smoothies. Are smoothies a solid or are they a liquid? Did you say liquid? You're right. They all have to go in their own container so they don't just land in the floor as a puddle. So now use your five senses. How would you describe those smoothies? They are different colors. Have you ever had a smoothie before? Are they sweet? Are they sour, salty, hot, cold? Remember, we're using our senses to describe the properties of solids and liquids. Smoothies are a liquid and we can describe them. Now in this picture, you see some towels. They're hanging on a line. Are towels a solid or are they a liquid? I hope you said they are a solid. Now use your five senses to describe those towels. What do you notice? Do you notice they're different colors? They're different designs and patterns? I know that when I go swimming, I like to have a towel to dry off at the end because I don't like to be cold and wet. I like to be warm and dry. I know towels are soft, so it's easy to wrap up in them. Now look at this picture of a golf ball. Is a golf ball a solid or a liquid? It looks like it has its own shape and it does not look like a puddle on the ground. So I know it is a solid. How would you describe the golf ball with your five senses? What does it look like? Do you know what a golf ball sounds like when you hit it with a golf club? Do they smell or taste? How do they feel? Oh my goodness. I think sugar must be my middle name because I really love sweet things right here. And in this picture, I see a picture of some syrup, or you might call it syrup, but I call it syrup. Is syrup a solid or a liquid? It's a liquid. It's pouring out of the container. And I noticed that in this picture. That helps me know that this is a liquid. It's very sticky, but it's sweet and it's tasty. Now, can you think of any other ways that you would want to describe syrup? In this last picture that we're going to look at together, it's a bowl of yogurt. Is the yogurt a solid or a liquid? I'm thinking about the yogurt we eat at our house. And I'm thinking about how when my boys are eating yogurt and it gets out of the bowl, it just turns into a mess on the table or in the floor. And so I know that yogurt would be described as a liquid. So what other words can you think of when you're using your five senses to describe its properties? Is it cold? Is it hot? It's not hot, it's cold. Do you like yogurt? Do you like the way it tastes? Some people like yogurt, some people don't. In this picture, I noticed that there are some raspberries, so maybe if you mix some fruit into your yogurt, you like the way it tastes, and maybe it helps it to be sweet. Well, today, if you have the handout that goes along with this video, you're going to notice that on one page, it tells about solids and liquids. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, you have learned a little bit about solids and liquids. You've learned that they are part of matter and that matter is everywhere, and that you've learned that solids are matter that have their own shape, and liquids are matter that have to take the shape of their container. Because if they don't, then they turn into a puddle or just a mess in the floor. So we can look at the different pictures and we can draw a circle around the pictures of the solids, and then we can put an X on the pictures that are liquids. So I notice there's a picture of rocks. I notice there's a picture of a pencil on some paper. I see a picture of a water droplet going into a pool of water. I notice some glasses that have different drinks in them. I notice some soap. And I notice a pile of tires. So see if you can draw a circle around the solids and put an X on the liquids. Now, for this next part, we're going to do some investigating, and it's going to be your turn to really get up and moving and see what's around your house. I want you to go to your kitchen, and I want you to see if you can find something in your kitchen that is a solid. I want you to pull on it. I want you to roll it between your hands. I want you to try to change it. Or not change the whole thing, but change its shape. So how would you describe its properties? Now, your job is to draw a picture of that solid on your handout and label it, because we know in kindergarten that when we draw a picture, it's really a good idea to put a label with it, and you can use stretchy snake, and you can try to stretch out or tap out those sounds that you hear and write the letters that go with those sounds. And then you're going to use your 5 senses to describe the property of your solid. Now, maybe you are brave enough and you're up for the challenge and you're going to try to write those words, but if you're not really sure, then you can just tell about it to the grown-up or the person watching this video with you. Once you found your solid, you're going to find a liquid. And I want you to see if you can get a few different containers out, maybe a cup and a bowl and a jar or a pot. And I want you to see if you can pour that liquid into those different containers. And I want you to notice, how does it change shape when you pour it into different containers? And then I want you to record your information. I want you to draw a picture of your liquid and give it a good label, just like you did with that solid. And I want you to describe your liquid using your 5 senses. Then we're going to move to the bathroom. Now you might think the bathroom, but really you're going to go investigate your bathroom. You're going to look around the bathroom and you're going to find something that's a solid. And you're going to think in your head, well, how is that solid the same or different than the solid that you found in the kitchen? You're going to draw a picture of the solid. You're going to give it a good label. Remember, you stretchy snake or tap out those sounds to write the word that gives it a label. And then you're going to describe its properties, and you can either write about those or you can tell about those. And you're going to find a liquid. How is the liquid in the bathroom the same as the liquid you found in your kitchen? Does it do the same kinds of things? I want you to draw your liquid, and I want you to give it a good label. And then I want you to describe the properties of your liquid. So that's your challenge today. We're going to do a little investigating, looking around your home. Now let's check in. What have we learned today? Well, we've learned about solids and liquids. We can tell about them as being parts of matter. And we can also use our 5 senses to describe their properties. I hope you've enjoyed this video today on solids and liquids. And I would really love to see what you were learning about and what you were doing in your own home. So feel free to share with us and tweet at KCS Science.